Hey everybody, this is Sam coming at you with day 14 of the daily November streaming challenge. We are nearly halfway there, which is crazy. This year feels like it's going fast and slow at the same time. But anyways, I hope your weekend is going well, and I hope that you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me if you haven't already, just so you don't miss anything cool coming down the line. And today I decided that I want to give a simple music theory tutorial. Now, the music theory you need to know to play most of the pop songs out there and to kind of start writing your own songs is quite simple. It really isn't very hard. So I hope you can stick with me, and I hope you find this valuable. But most of these songs are made out of what we call chords. Now, I know that's a pretty common term, but when you just have a note like this, that's just one note, right? When you put two notes together, we call that an interval. You put three or more together, now we're going to call it a chord. And you can keep your eye right here on my screen, and Logic will actually go and figure out what chord I'm playing and spit it out on the screen. So here you can see I'm playing a C chord. If I do something fancy, it even tells me the fancy name of the chord. But right now we're going to stick to simple chords. If I take a C note, an E note, and a G note and put them together, Logic tells me, hey, that's a C chord. And I'm going to call it a C root chord. Now, if you look right here, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the C root chord, C, E, G. There's a couple things I want you to note about this chord. First off, the bottom note is C. We're going to call that the tonic note. The tonic note is a fancy name for the name of the chord. In C, the tonic note is C. If it was an F chord, the tonic note would be F. If it was an A minor chord, the tonic note would be A. Simple, right? So the tonic note is on the bottom of the chord for the root position. The other thing I want you to notice is that it has a shape, right? So you have a note, you skip a note, you play a note, you skip a note, you play a note. That's what root chords look like. So root chords look like that, and the tonic note's on the bottom. So remember those two things. Here you can see the black dots are where I'm playing, because I know it's a little bit hard to see. But this is a C chord, and if I pick my hand up and move everything up by one, now Logic is going to tell me it's a D minor chord. Don't get hung up on the minor part. That just means it has a sad feeling to it. Versus this would be D major. Sounds much happier. So that's the D minor. I'm going to pick up my hand and move it up again. E minor chord. Pick it up again. That's the F chord. Pick it up again. G chord. One more time. We got an A minor chord. All right? You already know how to play 6 chords from knowing how to put your fingers in one shape. Okay? You know the C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor. Now that's pretty darn cool, because you already know enough to start playing pop songs, to start writing your own songs. And if you remember from my songwriting tutorial, and that was on my Facebook page, so check it out at facebook.com/fosterlovemusic. And I go over really basically how to start putting songs together. I talk about there that you need to be picking song chord progressions. Chord progressions just means you took 2 or more chords and you group them together and you play them over and over again. So in other words, let's say I had a C chord, then a D minor chord, then an E minor chord, then an F chord. Then I started over. C, D minor, E minor, F. We could start to write a song. Right? That's all it takes. Okay, and commonly in songs today, you're going to have 4 chords and a progression. Not always, but It's very common to do that. And so you're going to have 4 chords. You play the 4 chords and you start over and you play it again. All right? So from there, you can really arbitrarily use the 6 chords that you already know just from the root position and go and play with them. Go and change the order. So let's say I wanted to do A minor, F, C, G as a very common progression. And slowly I float up to heaven. And slowly I float up to heaven to find you. So see, I'm already just making up songs. And that's really all the theory you need to get started. Now, if you want to get a little bit more fancy, we can do that. So here you can see this is the root position. The C chord is defined by these 3 notes, C, E, G. If I add another C to this chord, it's still a C chord. Let's see if logic agrees. So if I play C, E, G, one more C, this is still a C chord. And in fact, this is a full C chord now, okay? But now I have 2 Cs. I don't really need the bottom one anymore. So I can play those 3 instead. And now I just change the order of the notes in the C chord. You have an E, you have a G, you have a C. The C went to the top. This is called the first inversion, right? We inverted the chord one time. First inversion. Now you can see the tonic note lives on top. And we have this shape, right? Remember in the root chord I said, remember where the tonic note is, and then it has this shape. For the first inversion, same thing. Here's the tonic note, here's the shape. I can play that same game, add another E on top, take the bottom one away, and now we've inverted the chord twice. This is a second inversion chord. Let's see if logic agrees. It still thinks it's a C chord. Very good. And now you can see the tonic notes in the middle. It has this shape, and that's how you can start to recognize these second inversions. Now that's all important because even though these are all C chords, they have a different sound, right? So that's a C second inversion. That's a C root. It sounds a little bit more uplifted, maybe not as resolved. And that's a C first inversion, okay? And in fact, you know, this is a common piano exercise as you're going up the inversions of the chords. And of course, if you take a second inversion and invert it one more time, there's no such thing as a third inversion. You end up back at the root. So that's all you have to know, 3 different shapes. And that's important because now, if I want to go take a progression, so say A minor, F, C, G, my hand is moving a lot, right? That's one problem. It's moving farther than I'd like. Second problem is all my chords sound like root chords, right? And duh, I'm playing all root chords. But let's say I want to take an A minor root and go to the nearest F. Ooh, that sounds different. Now nearest C, that's a second inversion C. And then the nearest G, that's a root G. So now all of a sudden my fingers are not moving very far and I'm getting a different sound. And that's when it gets really exciting. So my advice would be go and work those inversions. Really just start with those root chords. There's nothing wrong with just sticking with those until you're comfortable. And then maybe start inverting your chords. And everybody has heard this exercise. What they're doing is they're taking a C root, going to the nearest F, back to the C, nearest G. And in fact, that gets you to practice the root shape, second inversion shape, root shape, first inversion shape, right? And you can see it's not hard, not at all. It doesn't take a genius, doesn't take rocket science to know that much music theory. And now already, you can start to make up cool songs, right? Yellow, red, green, and gold, it's the trees beautifully dying. It's the fall that takes us soul. And it's true, the sun is comfortable, but always meant to set. It's the dusk that takes us all. And it's life that takes the best of me, and killing who I'm meant to be. All life I'll struggle on. And any strength that you can muster up, or alcohol to fill your cup, oh, you'll need it now. You'll need it now. Pretty cool stuff, right? Nice. Well, I hope that was helpful for you guys. And truly, honestly, if you have any questions at all, let me know. And I would be more than excited to nerd out about that and answer your questions. So happy practicing, and thank you so much for watching. And I will see you tomorrow for the halfway point of the daily November streaming challenge. It's been a pleasure.